First and 10, 11 seconds left in the game. Arizona's down 4. Here comes the snap. He rolls to his left. The ball is up. It's in the end zone. Caught! The Cardinals win! Justin Herbert to DeAndre Hopkins. Whoa, Justin Herbert? What happened to Kyler Murray? Oh, he's playing in the outfield for the Oakland A's. Ah, do I have your attention now? Because you're going to want to hear this one. Just hear me out. For many sports fans, their first encounter with Kyler Murray was when he was wearing number 1 for the Oklahoma Sooners football program. During his lone year as the starter at OU, Murray threw for over 4,000 yards and over 40 touchdowns, while also rushing for over 1,000 yards, on his way to being named the Heisman Trophy winner for 2018. But Murray's athletic journey goes back much further than that. Like many top recruits, Murray was a 2-star athlete in high school. But unlike most, he not only had the chance to be pro at both, he pursued both avenues. In fact, he was the first recruit to ever play for both the Under Armour All-American game in football and baseball. As a top infield prospect, Murray could have been drafted to Major League Baseball right out of high school, but he opted to attend college to have the chance to further explore both sports. Murray originally committed to Texas A&M to play both football and baseball, though he never actually played for the Aggies baseball team due to his early decision to transfer. Once he got to Oklahoma, Murray became a star in football, but he continued his baseball career too. As an outfielder for the Sooners in 2017, Murray had a batting average of 122 and 6 RBIs in just 27 games. But those numbers improved in 2018 as Murray batted .296 with 10 home runs, 47 RBIs, and 10 stolen bases that year. This was enough for the Oakland A's to draft Murray with the number 9 overall pick in the 2018 MLB draft. But we all know of Murray as a football player. He was never really going to play baseball, was he? I wouldn't say never, and that's because he had a handful of notable football stars who walked both paths before him. Prior to the 1983 NFL draft, the then Baltimore Colts had the number 1 overall pick, and the top quarterback to choose that year was a man by the name of John Elway. But before that draft even began, Elway made it known he had no interest in playing for the Colts, not wanting to play for their head coach at the time, Frank Kush. We all know Elway is a Denver Bronco, so we know he got out of playing for the Colts, but he did so by leveraging a potential baseball career. Like Murray, Elway had been drafted to the MLB before the NFL. 2 years before the 1983 NFL draft, the New York Yankees selected Elway in the second round. And Elway isn't the only notable football star to have baseball on the table. Both Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders, for as great as they were on the gridiron, had careers in the MLB as well. Former Notre Dame wide receiver Jeff Samardzija even chose baseball over football outright and made a career out of it. But since then, Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson occasionally showing up to spring training in a baseball uniform is about all we've seen. But what if this wasn't the case? What if Murray never changed his mind and kept true to his word when he said he fully intended on reporting to A's spring training and beginning his baseball career after his final year at Oklahoma? No, he would have never done that, right? Oh, I can show you exactly how and why this was closer than you think. After being selected number 9 overall by the A's in 2018, Murray actually did sign with the A's for a $4.6 million signing bonus. In both 2018 and 2019, the A's won 97 games and lost in the AL wildcard round with a semi-young, scrappy roster. In theory, Murray could have been a budding star who rose through the minor leagues faster than most to play on a competitive team with championship aspirations. After about 2 years, Murray would have taken over as the A's full-time starting outfielder and instantly been an American League success. Despite the shortened season in 2020 due to COVID-19, Murray would have shined on the field and at the plate as Rookie of the Year, helping the A's reach the ALCS instead of getting knocked out in the ALDS like they did. Back in the NFL, the league would have undergone a huge transformation. With no Kyler Murray on the board as a draft option in 2019, Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury would have had to stick with Josh Rosen as the quarterback for Arizona, which means pass rusher Nick Bosa would be wearing a different shade of red than we see him now, opposite Chandler Jones in Arizona as the number 1 overall pick. San Francisco subsequently would have then taken Quinnen Williams at number 2, and the Jets would have made a move for Kentucky edge rusher Josh Allen. With Josh Rosen not being the success story that many thought he would be pre-draft, the Cardinals would not have been a strong team with him at their quarterback for another year. They likely would have opened up their 2019 season with a loss to Detroit in Week 1 instead of the tie that they actually got with Murray, and likely also would have lost to the New York Giants in Week 7, putting Arizona firmly in the number 3 overall spot for the 2020 NFL Draft. As for the rest of the league, the Detroit Lions, after starting 3-1 in 2019, they end up mustering enough energy to beat the Green Bay Packers in Week 6, which was originally a Packers win, following their Week 5 bye, which would have sparked an up-and-down season that convinces the Lions ownership to run it back with Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia, leaving the 2020 draft order as Cincinnati at 1, Washington at 2, Arizona at 3, the Giants at 4, the Dolphins at 5, and the Chargers at 6. In this scenario, Joe Burrow and Chase Young still would have gone 1-2, but at number 3, seeing 2 years of Rosen and wanting to draft a new QB, Kingsbury would have had his eyes set on the big-armed Justin Herbert to run his air raid attack. After the Herbert selection, Arizona sends Rosen to the Patriots for a couple of 2020 Day 3 picks, which eventually landed Cam Newton with the Dallas Cowboys once Dak Prescott went down in October. Disappointed by seeing Herbert off the board, Los Angeles Chargers GM Tom Telesco decides to call up his old pal Dave Gettleman, who was a scout with the Buffalo Bills in the early 90s when Telesco was a scouting intern for the Bills, and made the trade for number 4 overall to bring Tua Tagovailoa in to replace Phillip Rivers, who left for the Colts in free agency. Miami, seeing their top 3 QBs off the board, decided to bolster their offensive line by selecting Andrew Thomas at number 5 overall and snagging Utah State quarterback Jordan Love with the number 18 overall pick, before Green Bay had the chance to trade up to get him. For the icing on the cake, Arizona still trades for wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins because, well, Bill O'Brien. And the futures of both the MLB and the NFL now look forever different. All because of one man's decision to trade a leather ball for a leather glove. And all because I told you at the top to just hear me out.